Gentlemen, welcome to your 2014 Payback preview and predictions.
Come on, baby! John from VocalAggression here for Payback preview and predictions alongside my cohort and commentary here. So excited for this show, especially what I consider to be the two main events of this card. Seems like it's going to be an exciting night this Sunday night at Payback.
I'm so glad we started on a good note because I was about this close to making an early botch and saying Battleground rather than Payback. But no, Battleground is now in late July, so we're going to have to wait another month and a half for that. So let's start things off. We might as well start with the pre-show. Hornswoggle versus El Torito in a hair versus mask match at our kickoff show. And I really don't care anymore about this feud, so I'm just going to say, yeah, Torito's not losing his mask, therefore we're going to get to see bald Hornswoggle.
Yeah, Torito is certainly not losing this match. This feud had such a great moment for the WLC match at Extreme Rules, and I feel like they crapped all over it the night after when we all knew that this feud was continuing. I just feel like it's completely running on fumes. Hell, I think it's combusted, really, at this point. I want these two to move on from each other when it's over, get Los Matadores maybe in tag title contention, have them do something more worthwhile than this. And 3MB, well, I've wanted them to disband for the longest time now so Drew can go back on his own. But none of that looks like it's materializing right now. So yeah, El Torito for the win in what should be, I guess, an entertaining match, but I really just don't care.
Yeah, same here. So let's move on to the main card. And before we do talk about the main card, I want to just add, I think that there's a distinct possibility that two different matches are going to get added to this card that haven't been announced yet. One of them being Adam Rose versus Jack Swagger, the other being a tag team title match between the Usos and the Wyatt family.
I definitely see a high possibility for the latter. Not so sure about the former, but that too wouldn't surprise me if it materialized.
Yeah, because the Usos have been featured more than just about any other feud on this list other than the Shield Evolution and John Cena Bray Wyatt ones, which are, I mean, the John Cena Bray Wyatt one is the one that the Usos were involved in. So either the Usos are going to be at ringside during that match or they're going to have a match against the rest of the family. I think it's definitely one of those two.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The Usos are going to have some kind of involvement at this pay-per-view, and I'll personally be very intrigued what that involvement is. Who knows, dude? It could be both. Maybe they lose the tag titles to the Wyatt family early on in the night, and then later on in the Last Man Standing match, they make some kind of an appearance. I don't know. The Usos are kind of like a wild card right now to me.
Yeah. So let's actually talk about what we do know, what actually has been officially announced. Probably the least important match on this card that's been officially announced is Big E versus Rusev.
This should be a great power match, but oh my, the steam that Big E has lost. He looked like he was on a nice trajectory, when he won the Intercontinental title. You and I were both hoping for a very dominant reign where he'd assert himself and really gain that star presence as the guy, bringing credibility back to the IC Championship. It looked like that was how it was going to be in the beginning, but he really quickly simmered. I think Rusev's stock is on the rise now, and Big E ultimately is going to be fed to Rusev. He's going to put up a fight, but it's not going to matter. He's going to fall to the accolade for sure.
I completely agree. I think that it's great that they're putting these guys against each other because they're basically similar as far as just build. I mean, obviously, Big E is pure muscle, and Rusev isn't really pure muscle. He's got like that, just like pure thick, just he's muscular, but he's got like a little bit of like the fat going on, but not like Samoa Joe fat, but like freaking like there was like a thing on Family Guy where they were talking about like early 1900s like in shape fat guys where you couldn't tell. That's kind of what Rusev is because he's in incredible shape. He's an incredible athlete, but he still jiggles a little bit when he moves around. So Rusev is built like a freaking brick crap house. He's freaking solid, thick frame. Big E, on the other hand, is just pure muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, Ashton, my biggest hope for this, if you want me to be honest, and I remember talking about it, albeit briefly, on a past TwitWow episode, was that, Big E loses here, and he does pull a Ryback, and we get that rumored Big E John Cena program for SummerSlam. I would only hope, though, if they go that route, that he's different from Ryback in the sense that he gets a legitimate victory over John Cena, and at SummerSlam would be fantastic.
Dude, you're dreaming right now.
Dude, anything can happen in the WWE. So you
Dude,
tell me I'm dreaming. I say let's wait till summertime.
think about the scenario that you're talking about. Big E turning heel, credible, sure, might happen. Big E facing John Cena in one of his first matches, one of his first feuds as a heel. I'll give it credibility, but it's still, you're stretching a little bit there. Big E beating John Cena? Come on now.
I mean, Cena's in that phase in his career where he's asking anybody to step up and take the torch from him. Will Big E
Yeah,
be that guy? No. But that doesn't mean that he won't beat John Cena
I
somewhere in the
think it
feud.
does because Ryback didn't beat John Cena. If Ryback couldn't beat John Cena, there's no freaking way Big E will, especially when you consider the amount of momentum that Ryback had going into all of his matches with John Cena, as opposed to the lack of momentum Big E has now.
All fair points, but really, I wouldn't sell Big E short after this event. I think he is. I don't know. I think this loss
So
is going
you
to do
think he's
something
going
to
to
him.
lose to
Yeah,
a basically a rookie and then win against John Cena?
yeah, I do.
I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's move on.
Perfect.
We agree that Rusev is winning, though, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about, let's see, the third most important championship in the company, the Intercontinental Championship. Bad News Barrett versus RVD.
Let's be honest here. Our RVD is solely in this match to quote unquote legitimize Barrett and his reign
Absolutely.
as a legend.
Yep.
Come in, do the spots, maybe get hit with an out of nowhere bad news bullhammer, and Barrett gets the win. It should be a solid matchup, but the problem with this is, and why I didn't like RVD winning beat the clock as opposed to a Ziggler, especially the fashion that Ziggler could have won it, is that I knew from the get go that Barrett was retaining. If you think that RVD has any chance of winning this championship, there is a greater likelihood that Big E could beat John Cena than RVD winning this championship.
I agree,
So,
actually, on that note. I do agree.
yeah, Bad News Barrett retains in what should be an entertaining matchup, but I really would like to see Ziggler be Barrett's next feud after RVD.
I would agree with that, yeah. RVD, see, here's the thing with RVD. You never know if he's going to win or not on TV, but when it comes to pay per views, you can confidently say he's not winning.
No, absolutely. Like he's lost every pay-per-view event. I'm almost tempted to make a joke that Ricardo Rodriguez will leave the Spanish announce table, push RVD off the top rope into a BNB. But either way, no matter how you paint it, he is losing this match. He's not going to gain the Intercontinental Championship, which again is fine because I'm enjoying what Bad News Barrett is doing. But it's time he starts getting in programs where you really begin to question, is it time for him to get the bad news? And I hope that starts immediately after Payback.
Absolutely. So we go from three consecutive agreed decisions to what's most likely going to be our first disagreement of the night: Sheamus versus Cesaro for the United States Championship.
This is a tough one. This is a tough one because you and I have been kind of forward thinking to Money in the Bank, and these two guys, for our respective playing fields, play very critical roles. Because I've been saying till the cows come home that Cesaro is winning Money in the Bank this year, and now that we're this close to it, I'll be damned if I'm going to pull out now. Like he is winning the briefcase this year. I have every confidence in that.
Well, then why didn't you predict that on SmackDown during our 30-second hot seat? You said Sheamus would win it.
Well, that I was torn. I definitely see the credibility in you saying Sheamus. I will give you that. And the more I think about it, I don't know. Is he meant to be a transitional champion to go on to something bigger? That's a question a lot of people have raised. But I don't know. Paul Heyman is on a freaking hot streak right now. He is living off of the fact that his client, Brock Lesnar, conquered The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. He needs another big moment. Is the United States Championship big? Depends on who you ask. Personally, I don't think it's big enough. I think you won big, you get that briefcase. So, really, you know what? Putting it in that perspective, knowing that Cesaro is a Paul Heyman guy, that trumps anything that Sheamus has got going on. So, Sheamus will keep his U.S. title. He will win this match, but Cesaro is going to be the biggest winner in the end, come Money in the Bank.
Well, I was wrong. I thought we were going to disagree about this, but we don't. I think Sheamus wins this as well.
Yeah, I don't see Cesaro winning it yet. I think the bigger question is Sheamus going to turn heel while he's the United States champion? I mean, that was speculated about for quite some time, but it still hasn't happened. I would consider that rumor a dud at this point, but you never know. A swerve can happen at any time. In fact, Ashton, I never really like to plug other columns, but one column I was reading actually thought that this match may end up being, a double turn type matchup, the likes of Ziggler and Del Rio. Fans want to cheer Cesaro, and Sheamus, as you and I have noted countless times, has always been that douchebag baby face. So I doubt we're going to see a double turn here, but I mean, with these two guys, it's really up in the air for me. But I am
Yeah,
picking Sheamus to come out on top.
yeah. Sheamus is the douchiest baby of all time.
Absolutely.
All right, so wow, we were really breezing through this. So let me just kind of throw this out there. I had a discussion on Reddit the other day, and with the WWE Network being a thing, I think the WWE can actually afford to cut down on the number of pay-per-views that they have yearly, since they're getting paid monthly anyway. So in my opinion, and this is actually something, like I said, I had a discussion with someone on Reddit. They said they should reduce it to 12 or 10. I personally think that 8 would be the ideal number. You can easily do on pay-per-view Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania, Money in the Bank. Uh, oh, I forgot Extreme Rules. So Extreme Rules, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and TLC. There's your 8 pay-per-views.
Yeah, I've always believed like 6 to 8 pay-per-views a year would be ideal. They definitely need to cut back. Really, to me, and this is something I've felt for a while now, and you and I have had a discussion about it, not for the audience until now, but when we see the infrastructure of NXT, like I wish the main programs would get on something similar. Because when NXT has events, they're 2 for 2 right now. Arrival killed
Dude,
it. Yeah,
I'm so glad you brought NXT up because I just realized they're planning on doing quarterly pay-per-views, right?
yeah,
So the WWE could do it so that they do 8 main roster pay-per-views, and during the off months they could have the NXT pay-per-views.
perfect to me. Absolutely perfect. Because yeah, NXT I think has the perfect infrastructure, and I think the main roster needs to replicate it. Because as I was getting ready to say, NXT is 2 for 2. Their events feel special because you have all those tapings in between, and then when that card finalizes, you think, oh man, something big is going to go down. Especially now with every NXT event going forward after Takeover, you're always going to expect something because these guys are hungry. They're ambitious to make a mark. I mean, you and I were talking about how WWE, I think, is sweating a little bit because they're thinking, oh God, if Payback doesn't deliver, then the developmental show will have killed the main show, and that is an image we cannot have happen. And I'm sorry to say that, I mean, as much as I'm looking forward to Payback, as it stands right now, NXT TakeOver is looking really good right now in comparison, and who's going to come out on top.
Dude, it's like I said during our last SmackDown review. I was looking forward to take over the most, and boy oh boy was I right.
Yeah, and I don't know what Payback's going to do. I think Sheamus Cesaro could be a real clinic, and the 2 main event matches I think could blow our minds. But the thing is, and I don't want to be that guy, but really they better. Like if you want to avoid the main roster guys looking like a bunch of jokes, you gotta step it up here. Um, so with that said, yeah, I mean that's really all I gotta say about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I only brought that up because it feels like we've just been spinning our wheels since WrestleMania. Like Extreme Rules had good matches, but literally no consequences whatsoever. And really, I mean, if our predictions that we're making here come true, we're not going to have pretty much, or we're pretty much not going to have any consequences at this show either. So really, you might as well just skip straight from WrestleMania to freaking Money in the Bank because that's the pay-per-view where things happen consistently.
It's amazing how much I think, Bryant's absence is being felt because it really shows you that like all these Raws that we felt like were or whatever, and SmackDowns as well. Brian, I think, always had that energy, at least for that one segment, to kick the show up another gear.
Yeah.
I'm really feeling his absence. Like I know we used to joke about like when guys like Miz and Del Rio were out, like we never even noticed, but you notice something like this,
Yeah.
absolutely. And the
Absolutely.
sooner he gets back,
The
the
better.
better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. All right, so let's see. Let's go to the second. Oh no, we already did talk about that. Wow, we've already breezed through all but three matches. So you know what? Let's do the Divas title, and then we'll get into our two main event matches: Paige versus Alicia Fox.
Can I ask you one question before we get into that? Are
Sure.
we going to discuss for our audience the Daniel Bryan Stephanie McMahon segment?
Yeah, I thought we were going to do that between the two main event ones, though.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Um, Paige versus Alicia Fox. Again, I'm gonna come off like just an an NXT hipster or whatever, or just some kind of douche. After Charlotte Natalia, I really feel bad for these two because everybody's been raving about that match, dude. Everybody.
Yep.
And these women are gonna be held to a standard now. I love Paige to death. I don't even have to speak for you how much you love Paige. You have been a fan of Alicia Fox when everybody was hating on her. So kudos to you. And I've
Speaking
definitely
of
come
being a
around.
hipster,
Yeah. So it's not that I have anything against these two women. Please understand that. I just don't think that they're going to measure up to that. It's going to be a good match, but it's just such a shame that TakeOver was a thing because this is one.
let's put it this way: Paige versus Alicia Fox is going to be a good match relative to the matches that we're used to on the main roster.
Yeah. There you go.
Charlotte versus Natalia was a good match regardless of the context.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. Uh, James has said it. I think Abel has said it. We've said it. These women on the main roster need to get some similar base of time that NXT women get. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, there were people that were saying that Charlotte and Natalia got close to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unheard of, dude. Like, that's what these women need. Because if I really had confidence that Paige and Alicia Fox was gonna get that time, I would be like, oh man, so excited. They're gonna own it. And don't get me wrong, Alicia has really turned up the heat. And I commend her for that, and I'm proud of her for that because she sucked me in. But the reality is, I know these women are only going to get 8 minutes at best, which compared to most Divas matches is actually great. But things have got to change because these women are capable of so much more, and I just think they're not going to measure up to take over. It's really sad. But as far as an actual prediction goes, Paige is not dropping that title. I still think she has unresolved business with AJ that'll probably pick up. I'm going to say no later than Battleground.
Oh,
Uh,
by the way, I do believe that Punk and AJ are now officially married, so congrats to them.
Congratulations to them indeed. So, yeah, Paige to retain because AJ is totally waiting in the wings.
I hope that AJ returns either at or by Money in the Bank.
That would be ideal for me as well, yes.
And Money in the Bank is June 29th, I believe. Yeah, June 29th. So she's got 4 weeks. Come on, AJ, make it happen. So, all right, let's talk about John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, last man standing. Oh, by the way, actually, you know what? I never made my official prediction. Paige to retain.
Can you do me a favor? I want you to talk about Cena Wyatt first because I do have something I want to say, but I at least want to hear something, maybe a modicum of positivity from you, which I'm sure is in there before I talk about this match. So
Oh,
you
John,
go
don't
first.
rely on me to be positive about this match, please.
So it's both of us, huh?
Cena's winning.
Then I guess I'll take it from here, huh? What are you doing to Bray Wyatt? I love this guy. He's one of my favorite guys. It's him and Cesaro. And again, I've said it over and over again. The beautiful thing about this era, when I used to just latch onto one guy and never let go, whether it was Benoit or Morrison after him, always that one guy. Here, there are so many guys. And at the helm, it's Wyatt and Cesaro. Cesaro's stock, thank goodness, seems like it's on an upward trajectory. I don't know what is going on with Bray Wyatt. This feud that I should have been so excited about, and you and I should have been like, oh man, this begins Bray Wyatt's residence at the top. His kingdom by the sea, so all of his enemies drown. You remember that? This feud managed to do one thing that I never wanted to happen. I became that guy. I became that guy on the internet who's a Cena hater because he has done nothing for me in this feud for the longest time.
He's done nothing for anyone but himself in this feud.
Bray has been trying so hard to make this work through his promos and his imagery and everything else. And Cena just no sells all of it. All of it. And you know what?
John Cena is too black as Dolph Ziggler is too white.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Because the thing is, Ashton, John Cena achieved something unforgivable and inexcusable. You know how much did I rave about this? She was saying it's my favorite program going on right now. This, and that. Cena killed it. He took it at the back of the barn and he shot it in the face. I have no hope that Bray Wyatt's going to win. And I'll go one step further, folks. If he wins, who cares?
Where does
Who
he go from
cares?
here? If Bray Wyatt wins this match, where does he go? In my opinion, he should be in WWE World Heavyweight Championship contention. But at the end of the day, how much does that really fit his character? How much does this psychotic, bearded, cultist, freaking swamp dwelling son of a gun really care about the championship title? I mean, really.
Really, the most prestigious prize you should go after with the current landscape, and I'm not even joking about this, would be a position within the authority. Because they have all the power and control, right? Like, at least if the champion had some sway or something, I could understand Bray going after that title because he's a god, right? So he'd want as
Right.
much power as he could gobble up.
See, to me though, the really terrible thing is, in my opinion, the one target that everyone should be working towards is beating John Cena.
Yeah,
And if Bray does that, it's not even going to matter. Like, that should be the ultimate goal. If you beat John Cena, you should be a main man, a made man, and a main man. I mean, both really. But it just feels like if Bray beats Cena, Cena's going to make it seem like it never happened.
and I hate him for it. I don't want to be this way. It ticks me off, but I hate him for it. I haven't been this angry at Cena since his glass jaw promo towards Randy Orton leading up to TLC. Like, lately he's just done nothing but infuriate me. Like, what are you doing? He's only 26. And you know what? So often, Ashton, we take age for granted because we say, oh, they'll take it on the chin and they'll come back. No, that's not an excuse anymore.
Yeah, let's ask Drew McIntyre how the age excuse worked out so far.
Yeah, first of all, it hasn't worked out for him, and you know what? I'm really sick of that crap. Because when you're good, and you shouldn't have to wait for a damn thing because you're this old or you're that old. And you know what? I'm almost glad I'm this angry because it reminds me why I love wrestling so much. Because I haven't felt this way in a really long time. But damn it, you have somebody who comes out there who gives us something that we don't see often, who gives us something that, you know what, it tells us. It tells us that PG writing can succeed, that it doesn't have to insult the intelligence of wrestling fans like ourselves. It doesn't have to pander to the lowest common denominator who still buys into all the kayfabe, which is the best time to be a wrestling fan. Trust me, I wish I was still there. Believe me. And yet, you give him to John Cena, and instead of being that responsible top guy that says, you know what, Bray, let's go out, let's make magic together. I'm going to make you a made man. Everybody's going to be talking about you when this is over. He's been putting over himself. That's all this has been about. Don't believe me? That main event promo, what does he shock to the crowd? His towel with never give up written on it. Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Cena wins. There's no, again, and you know what? Even if Cena loses, he wins. Cena wins. That's all I can say about it. I am so angry. I should be so excited to see this match, and honestly, I'm really close to the point of not even caring. Really close. And that's a damn shame because somebody who works as hard as Bray Wyatt deserves better than this. He deserves better than this. Cena wins. That's it. Anything else you want to say?
It's disappointing that it's come to this. Uh, to me, it's gotten to the point that the WWE isn't even trying to hide what they're doing. They've gotten to the point that they have gone beyond transparency about their douchiness as far as booking John Cena goes. On SmackDown, we had a last man standing match between Bray Wyatt and Jimmy Uso, which went for at least 15 minutes, probably closer to 20, and ended with Bray Wyatt hitting a Sister Abigail on the Uso. In my eyes, in my mind, I can practically see the WWE's gears as they're rotating because I know that they did this exact spot on this exact show with the purpose of setting it up so that people see Bray Wyatt's sister Abigail as a devastating enough finisher that it is good enough to win by itself a last man standing match. And the purpose of that is so that when John Cena stands up after getting sister Abigail at 9 3/4, people act shocked.
It sickens me that Bray Wyatt, who again, and I know I've said it over and over, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't blame anybody who would want to tell me to shut up about now, because I keep mentioning how he decisively beat Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble, this year, and that guy is now the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Really, by crowd reaction, he is the man, and he is just trailing behind John Cena in merchandise sales, from what I
We don't even know
consistently
that.
read.
He might not be. He might have overtaken Cena.
He might have overtaken Cena at this point. You're right, Ashton. And for
Maybe
Bray
if
Wyatt,
Bryan shilled his merchandise like Cena does on a consistent basis and had more than just a t-shirt to wear, then maybe he would be outselling Cena more consistently.
look, Cena has worked hard for his success. Nobody can deny that.
So has everybody, though.
But
Everybody.
so has everybody. And the point is, he once said on Stone Cold's podcast, he came on and he said, hey, my number one job is to leave this business in a better state than when I came in. Well, unless you were just phoning that in and paying lip service to all of your fans, which I get it, that's fine. Wouldn't be the first time somebody's done that. That's one thing. But if you really meant it, I will tell you right now, you could have fooled me, because this was your prime chance to prove it. And
I buy Batista saying that he wants to leave the business in a better place than when he got here more than I buy John Cena saying that.
He laid down clean for Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules.
He,
Ate the Superman punch and the spear.
Because of him, I don't know if you remember this or not, but Daniel Bryan's first ever match on Raw was against Batista, and it was supposed to be a 2-minute squash, but Batista freaking stood up to creative and said, no, this kid's going to be a big deal in the future. We need to let him look freaking competitive.
Right. This is a guy, and I've never really remarked about this match in particular, but this is a guy who I think it was when he was still chasing the World Heavyweight Championship some years back, and Undertaker was the champion. It was a beat-the-clock challenge against John Morrison, and Morrison dominated that match. I mean, he got all of his signature offense on Batista, and Batista came back at the end with spear, powerbomb, whatever, but he made him look so good, like he could have beat him at any moment. That's what Cena should be doing.
The really hilarious thing is, Batista came back and we all hated him as a babyface, but dude, when he is a heel, he puts over people at the same rate at frickin' Chris Jericho does. I mean, since he's been back, since his heel turn, he has successfully made Roman Reigns look like $1 million on multiple occasions, successfully made Dolph Ziggler look like $1 million at least once or twice. He's been putting people over the whole time since he's been back.
Really, and when I say this, I think it's a huge deal because I've only said it maybe, a handful of times in doing commentary. I do owe Batista an apology because I was crapping all over him when he came back. But you want to know something? He gets it. He gets what this business is about. And to me, I want to believe that Cena does, but he doesn't follow through with it. Understanding is one thing, action is another. I feel like Dave possesses both. Cena doesn't. And that's the disheartening thing because one guy's the man and the other guy is only going to be here for, 2 years on and off.
It's really starting to feel like insecurity with John Cena because the guys who leave and then come back and put people over, it feels like they're putting people over because they're comfortable with their spot. They know that they can leave. They have other things in their life going on. They can come back and be inserted into a main event storyline if they so choose, or be inserted into a storyline where they can put over the young talent if they so choose. But with Cena, it just is starting to feel like insecurity. It's starting to feel like he is scared of losing his spot because he doesn't have anything else. He doesn't have a band that he can go play with. He doesn't have a successful acting career to fall back on. He is just a wrestler. This is all he knows. And it's starting to feel like desperation with him because he is constantly defending himself, putting himself over, and I'm not going to say burying, but making his opponent look bad with definite intention, rather than putting people over like the guys like Jericho and Batista and even RVD do when they come back from an absence.
Well, I can tell you this. I completely agree with you, but you know what? Father Time is undefeated, and sooner or later, Cena's going to have to walk away. And hopefully, in those final years, he gets better about doing business because right now, I mean, even Extreme Rules where Bray Wyatt won, you and I both remarked, as much as I enjoyed the cage match, it was overbooked to all hell.
Yep.
I mean, all the interference. Honestly, I would have had a very competitive back and forth. I'll even grant Cena that he was about to walk away with a victory. I would have kept the child because I thought that was cool as hell. But all the Rowan interference and Harper interference, I'm like, why?
They both ended up in the freaking cage, and Cena still ended up on top.
I don't, I don't understand it. And the more I talk about it, the more frustrated I get because, folks, you got to
Never
understand.
forget, John, that one quote. I will never let this quote escape my mind from the post SummerSlam Vince McMahon investor meeting conference. Cena feeds us, and we need to keep him at the top until he quits.
And I can understand that, and I can respect that. But I'm a wrestling fan because of guys like Bray Wyatt. Guys who we were just talking about Batista. You know what Batista said about Bray Wyatt? He said, this kid's going to be amazing because he never stops learning. He's a sponge, always talking to people, always asking, hey, what'd you think of this? How can I get better? He cares. He cares. Doesn't mind doing a job because you know what? He's so confident. When we're talking about Cena's confidence, Bray is so confident that he says, you know what? Have Brian beat the crap out of me while we're confined in a steel cage because I'll make it seem like it needed to happen for me, not the other way around. And you know what? He pulls it off. And I hope people in the back hate him for it because that's how you know a guy is great. When it doesn't matter if you sling mud at him or you adorn him with gold, he'll come out looking a million times better than on his worst day than a guy will when he's at his very best. And I hope he can do it again here because I think the whole porta potty's going to come down on him for this. Because even if it's extensive Wyatt family interference and he pulls out the win, it's going to be, well, Michael, Cena gave it his all, but the message of the Wyatt family is too strong. And Michael Cole will be extolling the virtues of hustle, loyalty, and respect. And enough. Enough. This is a great wrestling villain. I want him to thrive. I want him to go after those championships because I do believe that Bray Wyatt's the next Undertaker, Jake the Snake Roberts, whatever name you want to throw out. He's the next one and better. But Cena just did not do him justice. And that's really how I feel about it. It just breaks my damn heart because I love this feud and Cena killed it for me.
To
So,
me, the most intriguing part about this match is what will happen after it's over. Because who's Bray Wyatt going after next? If John Cena beats Bray Wyatt, how is Bray Wyatt going to overcome the loss? If Bray Wyatt does get the win, who is he going after next? That, to me, is the number one most intriguing, thought-provoking part of this entire feud is when will it end, and when it does end, who's next for Bray Wyatt?
personally, how I would do it if I had to put all the pieces together, I would have Wyatt go after the championship if he goes over Cena, which again, I've even said Cena wins no matter really who officially wins, but as an official prediction, I guess I will say Cena unfortunately wins. I would have Cesaro go after Cena if they have no plans of having Cesaro win Money in the Bank, which is what I really want, but this is just fantasy booking, totally separate from that. So I would have Cesaro Cena because Paul Heyman guy wanting the torch, whatever, and I'd have Bray. I guess somehow go for the championship the next night. I don't know, win some contenders match or something. Find a way to bounce back. Everything just feels so hopeless with Bray Wyatt right now, and I hate that feeling because that's not a feeling you should have about a guy like this.
I do know for a fact that I read on dirt sheets that they are planning on, at least they were planning on, before the injury, Bryan versus Wyatt for the title at SummerSlam. I don't know if they're still going to go through with that, but I think that would work out very well if they can pull it off. But to me, we kind of established this at Royal Rumble with Daniel Bryan. Like, if he can't beat Bray Wyatt, what makes you think he's going to beat so and so, or like this was a point when people were saying, oh, well, if Bryan can't get a title shot, then he should go after the Undertaker. Well, if he can't beat Bray Wyatt, how's he going to beat the Undertaker? Well, if Bray Wyatt can't beat John Cena, how's he supposed to beat the guy that beat John Cena clean at SummerSlam? Like, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah, because I think WWE relies on the fact that fans are going to forget, and we never forget. In fact, that's both probably our biggest strong suit and where we get nitpicked the most. To me, if what you read was correct, which again we always disclaim that dirt sheets should always be taken with a grain of salt,
Well, I mean,
that
let me just kind of go over it. The what I read is that the three big matches planned for SummerSlam are Triple H, Roman Reigns, Sheamus, Cena, and Brian Wyatt. And then they also mentioned that there is a distinct possibility. Oh, who was it? There was another one that they mentioned, but I don't remember what it was now.
to me, and maybe you'll think of it while I take the reins here, but to me, if that would have been the case, what an endorsement for Bray, because I would have bet the house.
Oh, Cesaro Lesnar is the other one.
Oh, see, and I would have thought that SummerSlam would have been Lesnar Bryan, and that's why I was getting ready to say what an endorsement for Bray, because I would have thought that they would have trusted SummerSlam with Lesnar Bryan for the championship as the main event. The
Yeah.
idea that Bray would have gotten that spot, to me, that's amazing. Honestly, I kind of hope it happens now, just thinking about it. But I mean, again, we return to the same problem, and that's this freaking feud that I almost wish never would have even happened.
Not. I wish it wouldn't have happened yet. I'm not going to say never. I wish it wouldn't have happened yet, though.
Oh yeah, well that's what I meant. I mean, even though I didn't attach the end onto it, I mean, I would have wanted these guys to collide eventually, but I think it was too soon for one, and had I known it was going to pan out this way specifically, I definitely would have waited on it when Bray I think would have gotten more under his belt. I am extremely concerned for Bray Wyatt. I'm never concerned for John Cena. In fact, from that same column I told you about earlier, actually, when I was talking about the one match, yeah, Sheamus Cesaro, where somebody predicted a potential double turn. In that same column, somebody said that John Cena's the type of guy that if this last man standing match, if all it was the bell rang, Bray punched Cena in the face, and somehow that punch was so powerful that it kept Cena down for a count of 10, and the match was only 15 seconds. Cena could come out the next night, challenge for the championship, and nobody would bat an eye because he's John Cena.
Exactly. That's so, yeah, nailed it. Whoever said that, bravo, because you just completely captured the essence that is John Cena in 2014.
And that's just it, man. Like, that's why I'll never worry about him. And why should we? He's been the top guy for over 10 years. I mean, it's the future we have to be worried about. That's why you and I get so excited about NXT, and, we get so fervent and so passionate when we talk about it, because we know that's the next generation of the product. Like Bray Wyatt. I
And
love.
that's exactly why certain people like Sasha Banks, like Tyler Breeze, like Sami Zayn, I want to be able to stay at NXT because I feel like if they would get promoted to the main roster, quote unquote promoted to the main roster, they would get watered down and lost in the shuffle, and then they wouldn't be as good as they are at NXT. I like them in their spots at NXT, and even though it's selfish of me because I know they deserve better, I want them to stay at NXT because that's where they're at their best. And I don't think that they're going to get better when they get called up to the main roster because, like I said, they're going to get watered down and then lost in the shuffle.
Well, this experience terrifies me now. I hope you know that. Like any guy that comes up now and has his sights set on Cena, like I officially become petrified for, because this is ridiculous. And if Cena wasn't going to slow down and sell one iota of what Bray was doing, I mean, again, his message got to children. It had the potential to be so big. I mean, even Alex Riley, Ashton, who you and I loathe on commentary, said that's the foundation of Cena's support. What's Cena going to do? Like, he got it. He was selling it. The guy who was supposed to sell it to everybody didn't freaking sell it. He came out and he said, that's all right. Even though we really can't trust, 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds, that age group to really understand what it means to create their own values. You just believe whatever you want to believe. It's totally okay. And then he holds his little towel up. Isn't that cute?
All right. I think we've talked this pretty much
Yeah,
to death.
yeah,
So
definitely. Let's move on.
let's talk about the whole Stephanie McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Brie Bella thing. The stipulation is Daniel Bryan needs to surrender the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, or Stephanie McMahon will fire Brie Bella.
You know what? It's funny that we went from Cena Bray Wyatt to this because while I'm so angry at Cena Wyatt, I actually have to commend WWE here for writing Bryan into the show this way.
Yep.
I've heard some people say that they feel like the Authority versus Bryan angle is getting tired, and to a degree, I can see where they're coming from. But I feel like this is probably the most ingenious way I've seen WWE handle an injured superstar in quite some time because it keeps Bryan relevant. It keeps him in the fans' minds. It keeps him at that top dog status. And even in its own weird way, even though it's not being defended, it keeps the championship interesting because you think to yourself, is it going to be vacated? Is Bryan going to keep it? Is Brie going to step in somehow? So I really got to commend WWE for this. This was nicely done.
And you know what, dude? I personally want to thank a user on YouTube who commented on our discussion that we had on this on our Raw TwitWow. YouTube user Ecstasy69 with three X's. As hilarious as your username is, you were actually quite helpful, even though I think it was unintentional because you said, and I quote, the Bella thing can't work because if Cena lost, or because if Nikki lost, Cena would threaten to quit and they would never let that happen. Well, to me, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because to me, you do Brie versus Nikki in a career versus title match. Brie wins, Nikki gets fired, and then Cena gets her rehired because the WWE isn't going to ever let Cena walk out. So they'll do anything they want to kiss his butt to the point that he sticks around. So yeah, that works out perfectly. Nothing has been lost or gained, but at the end of the day, we've still stalled the title situation for Bryan to heel for another month.
No, absolutely. And that's really, Ashton, you said the word. This is really all this segment boils down to, and I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. This is about stalling.
Yeah.
I don't expect any major revelations to be made here. I don't expect any major progression in the sense of like, oh, what a shocking move, taking the titles off him or this, that, or the other to happen here. I expect stalling to happen here. And you know what? Good because I want Bryan to keep the championship. I think I'm pretty much in the majority with that opinion. I don't want him to be another Ziggler where it just as it looks like his reign has grown some legs, they get cut out from underneath him and he's back at square one. No, I think WWE sees what they have in Bryan. They're going to try and let him keep it. I'm still of the opinion that sooner or later we're going to get a sanctioned physical altercation between Brie and Stephanie. I don't know if the championships will hang in the balance. I doubt it. But I would be very surprised, I'll put it to you this way, if Brie and Stephanie do not have a match together down the road.
I hope they do. I hope they have some kind of confrontation. So
Well, I mean, dude, after everything that Stephanie has put people through, you have said it consistently on Twitter. Well, she needs a come up in somewhere.
right.
And you and I, really, after combing through the roster, Brie with her relationship with Bryan, and just being, a very, well, most of the time, I mean, she was kind of a bridezilla on Total Divas preparing for a wedding. But outside of that, seems like a very good person, seems like a very likable person. They can build off of that. And definitely it would further the goal of I think making the Bellas more distinct from each other, which I think is definitely necessary. So yeah, I do hope it comes to fruition.
Yeah. I mean, I am happy for Bryan. It sucks that he had to get neck surgery, but I'm glad that he's getting some time off because I actually just saw this statistic again on Reddit yesterday. Uh, this is actually the first pay-per-view that he doesn't have to work a match since Survivor Series 2011.
Wow.
He has wrestled 482 plus matches since that pay-per-view.
Damn.
Yeah. 2.5 years.
Yeah, and the work rate in which he goes, like with
Yeah.
his offense and everything,
Yeah.
that's.
It's
I mean,
insane.
he's a wrestler's wrestler, man. I mean,
I mean, he's basically averaging about 200 matches a year, if you really think about it. And considering there are only 365 days a year, and the fact that we only get really two main WWE shows per week, that's 100 plus pay-per-views. So we're at like 115. So he's working another like 85 to 90 matches that aren't even on the main shows or pay-per-views per year. So Yeah, he's going at a really ridiculous rate, and it's just good that he's getting a break, even as negative as it is, the circumstances with which he had to take the break.
Right. Brian to me is a very scary reminder of the nature of our business because sometimes I forget, when a guy gets on such a roll that things like this do happen. And, you just describing his work rate only reaffirms to me the notion even more that I want WWE to take good care of Brian, and Brian, more importantly, to take good care of himself, not only for his personal welfare, because we've seen enough bad things happen when guys throw that to the wind, but we want a career of longevity, and more importantly, one where Brian can go out on his own terms, like he deserves to. The neck is a very serious thing, even if the surgery is only minor. I am curious what that'll mean for Brian going forward when he steps back through the ropes. I talked to Ashton about this before we recorded this. I don't know how much his offense is going to change. I don't know how much he is going to change. But I don't know. Brian, something about him kind of strikes me as the stubborn type. So part of me even thinks that maybe he won't even change at all. Maybe he'll just keep pushing on through. But I just want him back. I just want him competing in a ring, and most importantly, I want him to be healthy. So I'm just glad they're stalling for time. He's getting the reign that he deserves. Should be an interesting segment. I'll definitely be all ears for it. And best of luck to him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So now that we've discussed that, we can move to our main event, or at least most likely main event: Shield versus Evolution.
All right, Ashton, I'm going to start this off by throwing the ball to you because I have been reading everywhere. Exact words, there is no way Shield is losing this match. Where do you stand on that?
I think Shield is losing this match.
And how funny, because so too do I. For a guy that said he was never going to bet against Roman Reigns, I'll tell you what, it doesn't even come down to Roman Reigns for me. The name that this comes down to for me, in all honesty, is Ric Flair. He said he's going to be in attendance, and just a sneaking feeling I have, it's going to come down to Reigns Triple H. There may even be blood. I doubt it, but Triple H is going to be selling exhaustion. And right at the closing moments, Ric Flair appears and he does something to give Triple H the win. Team Evolution comes out on top in what honestly should be, at the end of the day, a match of the year contender in my book.
You know, the more I think about this, the more it makes me lean towards Shield winning. But I just have this gut feeling that Evolution's going to steal this. I don't know how. I don't think Ric Flair is going to be involved at all. I could be wrong because I don't read dirt sheets as much as you, but I I don't see it happening. It hasn't been mentioned. It hasn't been relevant. It hasn't. I mean,
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Just to clarify, not to cut you off, but the reason why I even mentioned Ric Flair, he gave a WWE.com exclusive of who he was predicting between Shield and Evolution. He predicted Evolution to come out on top, and he said he would be there. I don't know if he just meant like crowd capacity, backstage, whatever, but he did say he'd be at the event. That's why I'm even putting this forward to begin with. This is on WWE's website, no dirt sheet.
okay, okay,
So,
yeah, yeah. I don't know. If Evolution loses, it's going to be Batista who loses.
right.
And the reason that I'm leaning towards Shield is because that seems incredibly likely to happen, because then it would allow Evolution to be all mad and angry and kick Batista out so that he could go promote his movie that's coming out in 2 months.
Right.
So to me, that, like, connecting the dots, that makes sense. But on that same note, the Shield's already beaten Evolution. So for them to beat them 2 consecutive pay-per-views, I mean, we're talking about John Cena no selling a loss. Triple H doesn't no sell losses. Triple H sells losses, but I'm curious as to how he would sell that second consecutive loss.
It's an interesting dynamic because when you consider Batista in the movie, when you consider, at least if you're me, and I'm cuckoo for fringe theories, so if you consider Ric Flair, if you consider the Shield already getting a victory at Extreme Rules, if you consider the nature of this style of matchup, no holds barred elimination, it is so chaotic. To me, the two toughest matches to predict on this card for me were Cesaro, Sheamus, and this match.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Actually, you
And
know what? I would even toss Paige, Alicia Fox in there because a lot of people are saying that with this momentum, the WWE can't afford to have Alicia Fox lose this match because if she does, she would just get kind of tossed back into the mix with the Divas division and kind of disappear into irrelevance again.
I could certainly see that argument. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, though, because there is something I would say to that, but I want to keep the focus here because you know how easily I do lose focus. But when you consider all that, it's really hard to see. And you know what? Batista's the real kicker to me, dude. Because him going away, I'm like, nah, they wouldn't have Evolution win if Batista wasn't going to be a part of. But then, in all honesty, I think about Rick and Rick picking Evolution and saying he was going to be there. I don't know. Now, what I have read on the dirt sheets, because again, that was WWE.com. What I have read on the dirt sheets, though, is that Rick, in a non wrestler role, of course, is set to return to TV. They've been talking about him managing talents. The Miz's name has
Miz,
come up.
yeah,
Ugh. But that aside, I wouldn't be surprised if he did some Evolution business first. You know, manage Triple H, Orton, and maybe a new guy to fill the void of Batista. We've been saying Sheamus or Cody Rhodes is another alternative, and you know, it's so hard because Roman Reigns is a beast. Like, there is a reason why I said, like, I would never bet against him because you're talking about a guy, dude, that at Survivor Series was staring down four men and by himself. Well, actually, no, Seth Rollins did eliminate one guy, but Roman Reigns, yeah, he eliminated four guys at the Survivor Series, tied a Survivor Series record. Royal Rumble beats Kane's record and comes down to the final two with Batista. I mean, this guy is a monster.
yeah.
But how much of a monster is he? When you're staring down, because here's the thing, I've heard two very interesting predictions in terms of match structure. Now I want you to give me your thoughts on this. Some people, and I'm being dead serious. In fact, this comes from the same column that I've referenced two previous times now in this video, have said they would not be surprised if all three members of the Shield remained intact and there wasn't a single elimination on the Shield side. Like, they dominate, and it's Triple H alone with the Shield, and they beat him down. Another prediction, which has been just as popular, if not a little more so, has been it comes down to Roman Reigns versus all three members of Evolution, and he just fights from the ground up, eliminates Orton, Batista, but then falls to the game. So which is it? Does the Shield dominate, or does Roman Reigns look like $1 million as the lone soldier fighting until the last bullet's been shot?
Yeah,
That's the question.
that is the question. That's the question that everyone has to be asking themselves, and anyone that wants to make predictions is going to be stuck on because you just can't say. You just don't know.
I would say because here, see, here's the other thing too. We could say that Batista would take the loss, but that would mean that Triple H would have to get eliminated earlier on in the contest. I can't see that. I see Triple H making it through to the end, because he's the freaking leader and he's the one really spearheading this movement. Um, it's so hard. This is so much harder than Extreme Rules. Like, I feel like Extreme Rules. In fact, if I remember our preview predictions correctly, like, I came right out to you, dude, and I said, yeah, Roman Reigns is pinning Batista. Done. Here, it's so much harder. I honestly do not know. I am so stuck. Because here's the thing. I've also theorized to you, and I don't know if you still believe in this, or maybe if you go in a different direction, but if Triple H were to come up short again, then it would make all logical sense to me that Triple H would try and turn the Shield against each other through a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah.
I mean, that just makes sense to me. Does it still make sense to you? I want to know before I continue.
Yeah, it does, of course.
Okay, so yeah, so we agree then that if Evolution was to fall again, Triple H, he may come out and cut his promo and he'll be like, boys, you know, you made me realize something last night. When I ate that spear and I was staring up at the lights, I realized maybe Evolution just can't adapt to the Shield. But now we'll have to see how you guys adapt to
To
facing
each
each
other.
other.
Yeah, exactly.
And there you go. That sets up Money in the Bank. That sets up planting the seeds because you know the breakup's going to happen eventually. It'll be the hardest breakup I think any of us have ever had to deal with, but we got to swallow it sometime.
Mom,
Um,
I don't want Daddy to leave.
I don't want it either. I really don't. Um, but at the same time, if he pits them against each other, then where does the logic go? I guess one way, because again, I still believe the end game is Roman Reigns versus Triple H SummerSlam.
Right.
Still believe it. Could it be that Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose walk away from Reigns because he's just skyrocketing at that point once Triple H starts turning them against each other.
Nope,
And he said,
nope, nope. Already disagree. Nope. Reigns is going to be heel first.
You still think Reigns is going to be heel for dude, I hate to be that guy. Well, actually, honestly, no, I don't, because I enjoy when we're on opposition and do these discourses. To burst your bubble, I don't see it. I think WWE is fully committing to making him that babyface without a
Yeah,
heel turn
yeah.
first.
I'm fully committed to him being that top babyface too. But everybody needs to be a heel before they can be a fully respected babyface.
And don't get me wrong, dude.
Name one. I genuinely. This is a genuine thought exercise, John. Name one person in history of the WWE who you could say was a top babyface who was never a heel before that.
I'll concede that I can't, but I don't know, dude. Roman Reigns, I think, just might be the exception rather than the rule.
Nope.
I and let me make something perfectly clear. Your logic and everything, I agree with. But this
And
is
actually,
coming from the
well,
same guys.
let me correct my own self. I don't know if Roman Reigns is going to be heel immediately out of the Shield, but I do think that he is going to be heel. He's going to have a heel run before he transitions into that legitimate top guy role.
Can I ask you something then?
Sure.
Would he be heel when he cashes in? Because if they're in Money in the Bank, then I'm going to be honest, I'm
If he
sweating
wins,
bullets.
if he wins Money in the Bank, his cash in will either be a heel turn or a heel move.
Right, right. So, okay, so at least we have our vehicle. So there would be Money in the Bank.
That's
I
if he wins. Though. I don't think he's going to win Money in the Bank in the first place.
I don't know, but oh god, all this confusion.
My thing. You and I are on different wavelengths here because you see Roman Reigns as money right now. I see him as an investment. I don't see him as ready yet. I still see him as a prospect. You know, I'm a huge fan of the NFL draft, and pardon me for possibly alienating some of you guys that are listening right now if you don't like the NFL draft. But to me, there are two different types of draft prospects. There are prospects and there are players. The players are the guys that you can plug in, they can start for you right now, and they make your team better. The prospects are the guys who might not be able to start and play better than anyone else on your team at that position right now, but you can you can groom them, make them better, and if they fulfill their potential, they'll be one of the best at their position in the entire league in the NFL a couple years down from the line. To me, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are players. Roman Reigns is a prospect. He just isn't ready yet. Maybe next year, Money in the Bank would make sense. Maybe even 2016 Royal Rumble would make sense. But to me, he's not 6 months away from being ready for that spot. He's not 9 months away from being ready for that spot. He still has a lot of work to do, both in the ring, in his head, meaning psychologically, and on the mic before he is ready for that spot. And I think that you feel like you and the WWE both see him as being ready now, whereas I feel like both me and the WWE see him as a prospect who's going to be ready in a year or more.
I will say this. I think you're half right because I actually agree with you. I think a guy like Roman Reigns needs to be groomed, needs to be protected because look, dude, look, what did we just get done? We just got done a huge tangent on Bray versus Cena.
Right.
In my mind, WWE did not protect Bray Wyatt. And now look at where Bray Wyatt is. He is between a rock and a hard place. WWE would be stupid to put Roman Reigns in that same place, but that's the thing, dude, because I'm counting on that stupidity. You don't work for the WWE, which is very unfortunate to me because 95% of the things that come out of your mouth, you know for a fact I agree with. I only really contend with you, I'd say 5% of the time, and even that I think is being generous. But the thing is, with how WWE handled Wyatt, with how WWE is sweating bullets because, oh my God, NXT TakeOver, it might just overshadow Payback. And you even came out and said, well, then why aren't you trying with your main product? I I don't know. I think they are going to hotshot Roman Reigns, and that scares me. But it's that hotshotting that I think will really lead to him potentially winning Money in the Bank this year. I'm telling you, the top three
See, and
contenders to
to me,
me.
that the hot shotting isn't going to be with him. It's going to be with Cesaro. I think Cesaro is the imminent. I don't want to say top guy, but I do want to say potential top guy. I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. I don't think he's ever going to be a top guy in the mold of an Austin or Cena. But I do think that if we're looking at the Attitude Era, he could fill that Triple H role. If we're looking at, say, the Ruthless Aggression Era, he could probably fill, say, I don't know, maybe the Edge role, where he's not the guy, but he is one of the guys, one of the top guys. If there was a Fortunate Four, he would probably be in it. But he's never going to be the guy. He's not going to be John Cena. He's not going to be Austin or Hogan. But he's still got that. He would be, that's what it is, not Edge. He would be Kurt Angle in the Ruthless Aggression era. He wouldn't be the guy, not the number one top guy. He would be 2, 3, maybe 4 as far as the rankings go. And I think they're going to start his push to that spot very soon, if it hasn't already started. Whereas with Reigns, he does have the potential to be that Austin Cena Hogan level top guy. But I think they're going to hold out on pushing him to that point for at least another year, if not more. I think, and here's the thing, I think the biggest thing that we disagree on is you're expecting the WWE to pull the trigger too early because, oh, they did it with Bray. To me, Bray was ready. To me, Bray wasn't a prospect. To me, Bray Wyatt was a player when they started using him like that. Roman Reigns is still a prospect, and I genuinely believe that the WWE sees that as well. I genuinely believe, because they've been protecting him. They have been protecting him. They know that he needs to be protected because they see the nuances that he doesn't have down yet. They see that when he's getting ready to punch someone, he would rather flip his hair than actually stare the guy down to make sure that he connects. They see that when he talks, he has little speech tics that he does that, yeah, sure, he has these great sound bites every now and then, but he still isn't consistent enough to work a mic by himself and run the show like what a John Cena or an Austin or even a Rock was able to do. I think the WWE sees it, and I think that's why they kept the Shield together for all this time, because I think that the Shield is a vehicle to protect Roman Reigns' weaknesses. I think they put him with the 2 most talented sons of guns that they had in developmental because they knew that they would make him look better.
I do completely agree. I still have my concerns though. I hope you're right. I really do because yeah, Roman Reigns is a lot like Batista in that regard. When Batista was in Evolution, you could tell they were slowly grooming him, while Orton just seemed to be going at light speed. Batista was that slow burn, and then when he finally powerbombed Triple H through that table during their contract signing, I mean the crowd exploded. Even before that, they were seriously getting behind him, and you could tell that's slowly but surely happening with Roman Reigns. Getting back to the original point, which is this payback match, because I still haven't decided who I think is going to win. You know what? You know what? Yeah, I think I am going to stick with my guns. I'm going to say Evolution wins due to Ric Flair interference. Roman Reigns getting last eliminated by Triple H.
Well, I'm glad one of us is consistent because I'm going to be a little bit of a hypocrite here and I'm going to flip flop. I'm going to say Shield wins last pinning Batista.
Okay.
Actually, no, you know what? First pinning Batista.
So last pinning Triple H, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Now, here's my other question, just a little bonus question for you, because I like putting you in a hot seat every once in a while. Do all 3 members of the Shield survive, or does it come down to Roman Reigns? Or a different answer, you know?
Oh, man, that's a good one. You know what? See, that's tough. That is tough because they haven't really booked Orton and Batista very strongly. They haven't really worried about keeping those guys protected. Whereas with the Shield, they are freaking golden boys at this point. So you know what? I'm going to say one of 2 things happens. Either all 3 members of the Shield survive and they sweep Evolution 3-zip. Or, and I know you said it comes down to Reigns, or only Roman Reigns gets eliminated via triple powerbomb.
Interesting.
And the
Yeah.
only reason I say that is because, again, that would lead up to the idea that they're isolating Roman Reigns. They are picking on him because they see him as the biggest threat, and that could be kind of the driving force behind the Reigns Triple H feud.
Well, see, and that's one of the reasons why I do believe that Roman Reigns, and I'll even say this, I said that Triple H would last eliminate Roman Reigns. Allow me to just fully clarify that I do think they are going to go the route of Roman Reigns trying to overcome the odds, staring down the barrel of a one-on-three advantage for Evolution. Because Evolution has really singled out Roman Reigns, saying they're going to teach him a lesson, saying they're going to take him out. What better way to do that than having him all to yourself in that ring
And
with
you know
no
what, dude?
rules?
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, and I hope he succeeds. That's how confident I am in Roman Reigns. But again, he's not ready. And I'm not saying this because I disagree with you. I'm saying this
No, yeah, I know.
to make a point about the future. I hope that he gets all of the credits, all of the praise, and the win for the Shield. But the reason I said all three survive is because I think that what they said on SmackDown about how they were going to pin Orton first, then Batista, then it'll be 3-on-1 against Triple H. I think that makes for them the best psychology, because then you can have a bit of a breakdown in Evolution. You could say Evolution just isn't cutting it anymore. They just aren't what they used to be. They're 10 years too late, and Triple H needs to accept that and step out of the ring. Batista goes home. Randy Orton continues competing. This short little run for Evolution was, yeah, it was short lived, but it was gorgeous. It was brilliant. It was amazing because of the quality of matches they put on with the Shield. But at the end of the day, Evolution just ain't cutting it anymore. And I think that they can use that. Triple H can use that because he can go from a member in the war trying to beat the opponents to the general trying to get other people to beat their opponents.
I think either way you look at it, whether it's Roman Reigns overcoming all three men, or the Shield cornering Triple H like a rab rat and giving him the beating of his life, you need to take either one of those avenues in my mind to properly necessitate Triple H forming in his mind, I've got to break these guys up.
Yeah.
So one of those finishes. So I'll put it like this. I'm still gonna see. There's so much to clarify here because so much can happen. I am picking Evolution to go over. I am picking Triple H to last to eliminate Roman Reigns. However, the more we've talked about it, I know it's illogical. It's just a gut feeling I have. How many times I've trusted my gut and end up falling flat on my face? I've lost count. Going with it again. But logic says that one of those finishes happens, and really because of how they love to make Roman Reigns look like a monster, to me the 1-on-3 thing is definitely more probable. But I guarantee you, either of those routes they go, the next night on Raw, Triple H, he may even seem like he's going to congratulate the Shield, and then he drops that bombshell on them that Money in the Bank's next pay-per-view. And guess what? All three of you are in. But remember, only one can emerge with that briefcase, and the seeds are planted.
And not a single one of them comes out of it with the briefcase.
Yeah, and I could believe that too. I mean, I do think that if Roman Reigns gets in the match, he's taking it as much as I want Cesaro to freaking win. But yeah, Roman Reigns is the only thing that can stop him, really. So we'll see. I mean, really, this one match and the Bryan situation really just reveals to me at second glance just how much I think is riding on Payback as far as future storylines go for this summer and even beyond. Should be interesting to see how it all plays
See,
out.
but we thought the same thing about Extreme Rules, though. We thought, oh, well, I mean, Shield beats Evolution, and that means that Batista has to go home, so we're going to get a new member of Evolution, and all this stuff's going to happen. At the end of the day, nothing happened. At the end of the day, there were really no consequences from Extreme Rules, but I hope you're right. I hope that there are legitimate consequences for Payback. I mean, the name of the pay-per-view itself, Payback, kind of implies consequences, but I just don't know. But at the end of the day, all I can say is I'm glad that we did this discussion because I've gotten myself really freaking pumped up for this show. It's tomorrow. Holy crap, that coming out of my mouth feels unnatural. And I'm looking forward to live reactions, dude.
Oh, absolutely. Again, with all the confusion and roadmaps, people got to be looking at like, well, what direction? I think these guys will put on a clinic, a match of the year contender to be sure. I think not being fettered down by any rules or regulations is really going to play to these guys' advantage.
I
And in
think,
front of a Chicago crowd,
oh yeah.
I mean, it speaks for itself. What were you gonna say, Ashton? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
What I was going to say is, believe it or not, I think that having Triple H having been at NXT Takeover is going to really motivate him to just kill it, man. Like he saw what those kids at NXT at developmental are capable of. He knows what they can do, and he witnessed it firsthand at NXT Takeover. And I think that's going to motivate him to really give it his all, to really put his heart and soul into this match to make it just like you said, a match of the year. And I think that it could very well end up being just that.
The Shield always delivers when, to steal a JBL line, the lights are on bright and all the marbles are on the table. Bryan is out. And the last time a champion was out and the Shield had to step in, again, it was heel CM Punk, TLC, Shield versus Team Hell No, and Ryback, who was scheduled to face Punk in a TLC match for the championship. And the Shield killed it. All six guys did, really, but
Yep.
the Shield showed that they
The
were not
star in
afraid.
that match was Seth Rollins.
Oh, dude, anybody who took a bump as crazy as that, yeah, all the praise. All the praise.
And you
But
know what, dude? You're quoting someone else. I'm going to quote myself. I've been saying this since the summer of this past year. The Shield brings out the best in everybody.
they do. And now that Bryan is out, folks, whether you like him or not, which I've never really met anybody who is in the not camp, now more than ever is time to believe in the Shield, because these guys are going to show you, doesn't matter how many guys are out, they can carry a show on their damn backs.
Yep.
And unlike a certain John Cena, my last little pot shot there, the Shield will make me, and I think every other wrestling fan, damn proud at Payback tomorrow night.
And
Believe
you know
that.
what, dude? I'm glad that you kind of use those two juxtaposed together, because to me, for every unethical, immoral, just bad for business thing that John Cena does or says, the Shield's always going to keep me around.
Hounds of Justice. Hounds of Justice.
They're just too good. And all right, so you know what? I think we're going to close things out on that. Anything left to say?
Guys, what a discussion, from absolute anger and infuriation to pure perplexity. Payback promises to be one of the most intriguing events in recent memory for WWE. We hope you join us for live reactions, certainly to be as memorable as this show, if not more so, knowing how high my voice can get. So we hope you join us, and we will see you at Payback tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Be sure to stay tuned. This video is going to go up tonight, probably closer to midnight, and live reactions will be tomorrow night. I'll also try and have that up by midnight, but knowing how long it takes for it to publish, to fully be ready to upload, it'll probably be closer to 2 a.m. on Monday morning. Regardless, though, this was fun. We will see you guys for Payback live reactions.
Oh yeah.